Today on Exploring Scotland's History, we're going to take you a walk up the Devil's Staircase in Glencoe. This is now part of the traditional West Highland Way route. I think it's your penultimate day before you head down into Fort William. The original use of this rather steep path was actually for cattle droving. It may seem like a hard slog for drovers and cattle, but this was not only the really most direct route, it was a route that avoided water. The last thing you want as a drover is to have to fight with locks and heavy streams. But I have to say, the views are to die for. What a stunning day. And Rex is obviously enjoying the freedom. He'll zigzag enough, he'll have done the West Highland Way 14 times by the end of the afternoon. The good thing about this path also is a water source for the drovers and the cattle, though this idiot just wants to pick up sticks. This road was originally called the Devil's Staircase by General Wade's soldiers as they toiled to make the military roads in this area. The roads were constructed in the early 1700s as a way to access and quell the Jacobites after the Rising of 1715. The powers that be were really quite determined to suppress and exert control over this area, and hence why the roads were built. Wade wasn't just responsible for roads though, he was obviously responsible for bridges and also for fortifying the whole road right through the heart of the Highlands. So we had Fort William, we had Fort George, and we had Fort Augustus. General Wade did end up as the general of all three forts. Wade was Anglo-Irish. He was born in Westmeath in the south of Ireland, but he rose very, very rapidly through the ranks of the English army. His military career did fade somewhat after 1745. In a bid to stop Bonnie Prince Charlie and his Jacobite forces heading down into England, Wade basically blocked off Newcastle and waited for the Jacobites to come through. The Jacobites chose the other course and made it as far as Derby. I will put a link up to when I was in Derby, and there's actually a monument for Bonnie Prince Charlie and that down there. Due to the wait in Newcastle, the field wait in Newcastle, Wade's men were basically nearly starved to death in the aftermath of that, and Wade really was deposed by the person that we now know as the Butcher Cumberland. And this is Scottish weather for you. Snow on the top of the mountains, sun splitting the slates, and we've had to take our coat off because it is roasting. A stunning day in the Highlands. think I always try and give up 2 feet before the top of something.
I told you, just a wee bit further.
Look how frozen that is. Soldiers would have naturally funneled their way through the Devil's Staircase in 1692 on their orders to kill the MacDonalds. There is traditional stories that soldiers claimed that they had been trapped up here with poor weather, and they actually appeared at Glencoe after what is now known as the massacre had taken place. We have been up the Devil's Staircase in various weathers, and I have to say I've never really felt it that completely impassable. I really do hope that possibly the soldiers on their way to Glencoe got a wee bit of conscience and decided to make an excuse and say that they were snowed in. Just where the beautiful glowing light is Ben Nevis. We have Fort William slightly off to the left, and down this direction is heading towards 𝕾𝖈𝖔𝖏𝖓𝖘. Behind me is the area of 𝕾𝖈𝖔𝖏𝖓𝖘, and the Devil's Staircase kept its name throughout the start of the 20th century when the guys were building the Blackwater Dam. Most of them were Irish navvies. In fact, it's thought it's one of the last projects the Irish navvies fully worked on. They would have taken a wee traipse over the Devil's Staircase and headed over to the King's House Hotel, which I'm sure most people have been to see the deer. They would have headed over to 𝕰𝖝𝖕𝖔𝖊. Problem was getting back over the hill in the dead of night, and possibly with not the best of conditions. And it is said that many of the guys, the devil took their own. There is a graveyard up at Blackwater, which we will go and visit. There are 22 graves, 21 men, many of them unknown, and one lady, Mrs. Riley, who must have had really good fun keeping these guys in check. If you enjoy stunning Scottish scenery and would like to learn more of the history of Scotland, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon and then you'll catch up with me on my next adventure. Feel free also to join me on Facebook and Instagram, both exploring Scotland's history. Thank you for watching.